The veterans landed in Baltimore to a water cannon salute by the local firefighters. They also received a memorable welcome by Navy midshipmen, as well as a huge crowd in the airport. The veterans boarded the bus headed to the World War II Memorial. Senator Bob Dole chaired the Finance Committee to construct the World War II Memorial and was on hand to greet the veterans.
Well, it's a great experience for me because we're all in the same boat. You know, we've been in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, Merchant Marine, but we're all served. And now we have Korean veterans and Vietnam veterans coming. And I was the finance chairman to help get this built, and I had a lot of help. We raised $170 million, so this is not a government memorial. This is a veterans memorial, and many veterans sent money, you know. But we got $8 million from the Legion, $8 million from Veterans of Foreign Wars. So it's a great place, and it's the most visited memorial in D.C., and there are not many of us old guys left. You know, we're down to 700,000 out of 16.5 million who served. So and we lose about 1,000 a day. So anyway, you know, we're glad to be alive and live in a great country like America. Amen.
The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you.
Honor Flight was founded in 2005 by physician's assistant Earl Morse.
The idea of Honor Flight got started when I had about 30, 40 World War II veterans that I was seeing out at my VA clinic in Springfield, Ohio, who had never seen the memorial, and because they were my patients, I realized also that they would never get to see their memorial. So I started recruiting other pilots, and we started bringing the veterans out here, about 12 at a time and then 24 at a time, and it just gradually grew all across the country. Right now we're transitioning to World War II, Korean and Vietnam veterans, and our top priority of course is any veteran that's terminally ill. At Honor Flight, we haven't figured out yet which veterans do not deserve to see their memorial. Of course, every veteran deserves to see their memorial, and it's only through public support and wonderful folks that feel that it's important that these veterans come out here and experience America's thank you for their service. And we're so grateful for all the support we're receiving from all across the country.
The veterans were given a police escort everywhere they went in order to honor them as well as save them time from the heavy Washington, D.C. traffic. A number of veterans shared their experiences in the military.
I was in the Navy, U.S. Navy, West Coast, nice trip to Alaska, went into the ice fields, 384 miles from the North Pole. It is 22 stories that we rappel down. Each one of us gets a chance in the afternoon to have a chance at rappelling down as many times as you want.
Our division started at the Battle of the Bulge, and we were combat medics, and we were very busy guys trying to get all those fellas that got injured up the hill so that they could take them back to the earlier stations. But we had about 10 litter squads going for about 24 hours to keep up with it. So they finally busted through the Battle of the Bulge, and then we were told by the generals, now we must take the Maginot Line out. So it took us a while to get that, and we managed to get a lucky cross the Rhine River before they got a chance to burn it down or tear it down. So then we moved on and became the 1st Division to meet the 69th 69th Infantry Division, and the first one to meet the Russians on the Elbe River that ended the war.
Well, I served based in England, co-pilot of B-17s over there. Had 35 combat missions in England. I served over there from 43 to 45, and then returned finished my education at Ohio State then. And I was pleased to be back safely, obviously. But it's wonderful to see these memorials, and this is a great experience. Columbus Honor Flight people bring us in for the day, and we get a chance to see all of this, which is wonderful, and we appreciate it very much.
Well, when I was in, I was fortunate. I didn't have to go overseas. I went to OCS in Fort Knox, Kentucky on the armored school, and then I went to Fort Hood, Texas, and while I was down there, our battalion was assigned to give basic training for close to 6 months. I have no idea how many thousand we trained, taught them how to shoot all the guns on the tanks and everything like that, and it went over good. During all the training, we never had one accident.
I was at the Coast Guard, and I made the rescue ships for all American ships that were made. The rafts were made by the Globe in Kokomo, Indiana, and they were taken down to the New Orleans and put on our American ships all over the World War II. And I brought these pictures back to show my children. I have 17 grandchildren to give these memories to.
I was in 3 years in the Marine Corps. I guess the most important thing I witnessed was I was in on the atomic bomb test, Desert Rock.
Yes, I was a sonar man on a destroyer. I served in the European theater in the Mediterranean area. And I had experience detecting Russian submarine, mainly in the Cold War.
I trained in California and at the Naval Air Station because I flew a P-38 and we flew off of the North Island Naval Air Station. From there we went to China by the Red Ball Express through Africa, South America, Africa, India, and then finally to China. And spent 35 missions. In order to get home, you had to have 35 missions in, and they included missions over Thailand, French Indochina, Burma, and China, of course. Came home by way of Okinawa, went through a cyclone, and it took 64 days to go from Calcutta to San Francisco.
I arrived here in the United States in 1951 from Hungary as a refugee with one suitcase. In '54, I was drafted during the Korean War, and I served 2 years. Eisenhower managed to make peace, and fortunately I didn't have to go overseas. After I was discharged honorably, I had a couple of real good jobs in electronics, and all of a sudden here comes a registered mail again that the Cuban crisis is on, and I I've been drafted again. So I had to go in back to the service, and it took the Army 4 months to find out that they made a mistake.
I was in a special unit called the Navy V-12, which was an officer training program. They were training for officers, whether it be medical or doctor, dentist, or so on. I was training to be a chaplain, and so my experience was at Baldwin Wallace College in Berea, Ohio, and then McCormick Seminary in Chicago, but I never went on into the chaplaincy.
Well, I was lucky enough to get in toward the end of the war, and they sent me over to the Philippine Islands, and I was in the sub base at Subic Bay, and worked there for a while, and then I was assigned a tanker. We did tanker work in Subic and in Manila Bay. We were anchored off Corregidor, a very famous point, and Cavite Point. And then after that term was over, we came back to the States, and I helped decommission an APA at Mare Island.
I got in right at the end of World War I. World War II. I was in for Korea, and I got out right after Vietnam got started.
Okay, the movie We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson. Leonard Schroll from Hastings, Pennsylvania was in that movie. And if you watch the movie at the end, when it was over, they showed the caption of all the boys that were in there, and he was one of them. And that was in, he was killed in Vietnam in 1965. And if you watch the movie, he's in the second to the last caption at the end, I think. You'll see his name, Leonard Schroll.
On behalf of a grateful nation, we'd like to formally thank you.
Are we going up or what?
Let it shift.
Michelle? On behalf of our country, the United States, I would like to thank you for your service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi. How are you? Okay, I hope I don't drop this in here.
Yeah. Good to see you guys.
Sir? How are you, sir?
Good to see you. Do you know this guy back here? You know this guy back here?
Thank you.
Was in 1956, retired in 76, so, and I went ahead and did 2 tour duties in Vietnam and 1 in Thailand.
Well, the Air Force, I went to a couple of different stations and ended up in Amarillo. And then December 54, they said I was going to go to Alaska. And so I ended up in Alaska for the last year and a couple of months there at Anchorage. And it was a good time. Kind of cold, but that's natural up there. And then later on, after I went to school and looking around for a job, couldn't get one, so went back to the Air Force. No Army, no Coast Guard. Took a test and passed. Ended up in Southern Italy for a year. Came back to Michigan. Then I went over to Groton, Connecticut, and I spent the last year there being an instructor in electronics school. That was a good time. I put about 5 or 6 classes through, and it was good. I had a great time in both the Air Force and the Coast Guard.
A number of midshipmen from the Naval Academy met us in Washington, D.C. to serve as guardians on the trip.
I'm a senior here at the Naval Academy. I'm graduating in May, so 2 months away. It's time to reflect back on what we've done and thank the veterans for their service. And Honor Flight's a great way to give back, an opportunity to see people like World War II veterans, Korea veterans, Vietnam veterans. So it's a great opportunity for us to come out here and say thank you to those who served before us.
Well, I volunteered to be a guardian because my great-grandfather served in World War II, and I thought it was a unique opportunity to connect with those veterans in a different way.
Okay, so I got involved with the Honor Guardian program just because the Academy sent out an email to all the midshipmen saying that there was an opportunity to go with veterans to DC and look at all the different monuments, and so I thought it was a really great opportunity not only to look at all the monuments once again in DC, and to remember the sacrifice that our veterans made for us, but also it was a great opportunity to connect with people who actually served in these conflicts and to get to know them and to learn their experience and their life lessons from them. And it's been a really rewarding experience thus far. I've heard stories not only from my veteran but also other veterans as well, and it's a very touching experience and a very rewarding experience. I recommend it to anybody who would be considering doing this.
It is a special experience to be a Guardian on the trip. All Guardians pay their own expenses for the trip. A few of them talk about their choice to be a Guardian.
When I spoke to him, I said, what are you anxious about? What makes you nervous? And he said that seeing that wall, I don't know if I can do it. And we got him to the wall. And I also asked if there was anybody he wanted to find. And he said, no, I don't want to see it. And we got to the wall, and he got there, and he found the name. He wanted to find the name, and he found the name he needed to see. And later, he was a completely different human being. And I asked him, tell me what that flight meant to you. His name was Mike Hughes, and he says, my entire existence is so much more at ease. I've had more community and more friends that have come out, and I feel like a better person for this. So helping with that healing was very impactful. On that same flight, I had a gentleman, E.T. Dameron, who wore his uniform, and he said he wore it because he was told he not to wear it when he came home. And it was really important for him to wear it that day. So I'm so glad he had that opportunity, and these guys are just so great.
Honor Flight is my passion, and I've been actually a Guardian twice and just feel the love, and it's my passion. It's my deep, deep passion to give back to these veterans and to be able to love on them, respect them, share their stories, and it's a fantastic opportunity for me to be on this leadership team.
It's the sheer excitement on those veterans' faces, being able to see them come off the plane and see those people waiting to welcome them, and then to have them see the school kids or the tourists that just stop out of their whole tour and go right over to our veterans and shake their hand. That's what keeps us going, just knowing that they're going to have a great day and be thanked for their service that they haven't had in the past. Most memorable experience so far? Probably when a lady was standing at the airport waiting for our veterans to come off the plane, and she came rushing over. She heard that there were going to be World War II veterans there, and she was standing and she was so excited she couldn't wait. And her name was Rose. And when the last veteran got off the plane, and I went over to her and I said, why are you so excited? You were the most excited in the whole group. She said, I would not be here without them. My parents were in a concentration camp. So she wanted to be able to thank them for releasing her parents, fighting the war so that they could get free, and then she was born.
We want to have you once again experience Mail Call today. So we have had several volunteers hard at work in our office, making some phone calls, and there's different school groups, different just children who will oftentimes write letters for you. So we also have Mail Call for you today.
Regan?
Yep. I'll put these inside the big one.
Go, Harmon. Is that all of it?
Dear John, I married your father. Let's hope we're not a love father.
Some veterans share their thoughts about this special trip.
It was really great today. I'm most impressed at the Korean memorial. The figures coming up out of the woods and on that green, I don't know, that really got me. Much more than the others are nice, don't misunderstand me. but that was so realistic and so personal.
We had a great day. Saw a lot of the monuments I'd never seen before. Met a lot of nice people, and particularly the honor flight people from Columbus. They're really great.
I've never had such a day in my life. Absolutely and positively. I enjoyed the people. It's just unreal how good people you meet. I mean, really meet.
It was wonderful. You couldn't ask for any better.
Best part is just get to come with the rest of the veterans and everything, and it sort of makes you want to believe again on how everything is. It was a great thing. I really appreciate this.
It's been a wonderful day, awesome, much more than I expected it to be, and I'll tell you, every vet ought to be able to know about this so that they can come and enjoy the experience that we have here. It's beyond comprehension and just so great, so wonderful people. I'm thankful that I had the privilege to be here.
And one of the best days of my life. I couldn't ask for a better birthday present. Tomorrow is my birthday. Today is coming here. And not only that, my daughter and son-in-law came out to be with me. And I couldn't ask for a better day. I've never had such a good time since I got my discharge. It was really wonderful, and I had a lovely guardian angel taking care of me. That's all, but I'm looking forward to going home and so I can brag and tell other people what a good time I had.
Today was great. We got to see a lot of things, and more importantly, I got to share it with my stepfather, Fred. He's a Korea and World War II vet. I'm a Vietnam vet. We got to do this together. It was terrific. Thank you.
Fantastic. Best day I've had in 20 years. Really, I'm serious. Totally serious. Fantastic. People were great.
Well, as far as the day was concerned, it was perfect. The weather was ideal. It's spring in Washington, so all of the flowers are out. You're completely overwhelmed with the massiveness as far as the cemetery is concerned. The support that we got from the midshipmen were the very present supplies. This is the future of America that we're looking at, and these men and women are a true inspiration. That whatever we did as far as the country was concerned, they're going to carry it on, and it was great. That was my highlight.
This day would equal my wedding date in significance to the importance of the day and how well coordinated it was. I've had a wonderful time. I could not say the dedication of everybody is just unreal. I get back to my little town of Gahanna. I hope to convince some other merchants and friends to climb on board and donate and help make this thing sustain it farther than it is. God bless and thank you very much.
I'm 92 years old. And I was in the service for 4 years during most of World War II. I am so impressed with the young people that are out there now. I felt that we were losing our youth, but there's a lot of really wonderful young people out there, very dedicated, and I'm proud to be an American, and I realize that there are still Americans out there. It was a great day for me. I'll enjoy it for the rest of my life.
The high point of today was when I got off of the plane and walked up the ramp, and all those guys, get ready. All those guys out there waiting to greet you. I didn't look for that. So that was the top part of the day for me.
How are you?